Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we open our gifts early. Eastmost Peninsula is the secret, so Nintendo Cartridge Society is the secret with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I'm joined, as I'm always joined by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. I can't believe that we're pretty
here.
much at the end of the year.
We're at the end of the year. We're doing our like annual-ish Christmas. I guess it is annual. It couldn't be more frequent than that. Have we done a year where we haven't done something like special for Christmas or like a holiday-themed show of some kind?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I can't remember what we did in the early years of the show.
Right.
Like NCS 2016, what did we do for Christmas?
Yeah, great question.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I can't remember at all.
Honestly, before we did the Christmas Carol, I can't really remember.
No. So that may have been
anything.
Like the first time that we acknowledged the holidays. Do you know, it is funny. I feel like we have very poor recall, generally speaking, on like episodes that we've done in the past.
Yes.
But I think we have a pretty good nose for whether we've talked about something on 433 or not.
I think we do, but I also like now I feel like a 433 topic comes up and I don't immediately recognize it, and I'm like, thank God, let's do it. Because it takes a little bit to come up with those
Sometimes,
things.
yeah, for
especially
sure.
when we've already like prepped a whole show of like something else. And it's like, okay, we got to talk about something else for 4 minutes and 33 seconds, which we love to do, of course.
Yeah. We're always talking about stuff.
Hey,
to do it for 4 minutes and 33 seconds.
That's a great
no
point.
Sweat off our back.
It's not common that you and I talk about not Nintendo for 4 whole minutes and 33 seconds.
It is shockingly true. In our day-to-day non-recording lives, we still find a way to talk about Nintendo,
just
probably at like a 5-minute frequency.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree.
It's healthy. It's good.
It's healthy and it's good, and we like it.
We like it.
Before we get into the celebration here today and really dig into the 12 days of Christmas, which is what we're doing, but Nintendo style. Of course, just want to remind you about the Patreon, patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you're over there and you're supporting us at the 8-bit and the 16-bit levels, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries that we put out, which means that you are about to hear, if you are in that category of person, that you are about to hear our special holiday episode of NCS Detective Club.
That's right. We watched an episode of Monk called Mr. Monk and the Secret Santa, and we'll be talking about that on that episode, which will be going live in just a couple days tomorrow on Friday.
And if you are following us on Patreon, but not supporting us with money, thank you for doing that. You get access to our listener feedback episodes, to the NCS Arcade episodes that we're doing. We will be doing an episode about Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga sometime in January. We did the main episode, which is available to supporters, but the free folk will get access to the listener feedback episode. So you can also email us about Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. Yeah, I got a little bit tripped up in my own words there because I called the free folk.
Yeah, I know.
I said it and I really liked it.
Look, everyone should be a free folk.
Everyone should be.
Everyone should follow
us
on Patreon. There's those listener feedback episodes are a lot of fun because we I know this is going to be shocking news based on how this opening is going, but sometimes we take side roads.
Yes.
In those listener feedback episodes.
That's true. They're not always just about the game. In fact,
they're frequently not.
I'm not done talking about Kathy Griffin in the early 2000s. She's
so much
going to come
say.
up again.
Yeah.
Okay. Patreon. Discord, if you're not there, email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com.
We'll send you an invitation. But Mark, let's just get into it now. Let's rewrite the 12 days of Christmas with Nintendo stuff. Okay. 12 days of Christmas. Mark, I just okay. Before we dive in here, this is going to be a two-part episode. So we are doing the first 6 days here. We are going to have a rigorous process by which we evaluate what each of these days represents and what could be a Nintendo representative of that. So 6 days here, 6 days on the next episode, and that'll be the only episode that comes out
Next week.
the week of Christmas. Yep. So just with that programming reminder out of the way, how do you feel about the song "The 12 Days of Christmas"?
It's one of those songs that I know really well because, like, growing up, I heard it, and I'm sure we sang it at some point. But I have no, I don't. I guess it's like Jingle Bells or a lot of those like Christmas songs that I don't remember being first introduced to it or learning it. It just feels like it's always existed.
Always been there. Well, and what's interesting about 12 Days of Christmas, especially like as compared to something like Jingle Bells, is that this is like an ancient drinking song / memory game, right? Like it was first published in 1780. Okay, so like it's been committed to paper for over 200 years, like 250 years, right? But it's just been like an orally passed down tradition. A lot of the lyrics that we know now aren't the lyrics as they were originally like put forth. And so it's just like this weird, I don't know. This almost feels more like 99 bottles of beer on the wall than Jingle Bells to me.
Right. Well, yeah, and it is like so interesting that, like the gifts that they talk about are
right. Too many birds.
There are so many birds, and it's all front loaded. It's front loaded with birds.
So many birds. And maybe even a couple more birds than people realize, which we'll talk about when we get to it. It's all birds and then people.
Yeah. Okay. Question for you.
Yeah.
How do you sing it? Is it on the first day of Christmas? My true love gave to me.
Yeah.
My true love sent to me. Something else entirely.
No, gave to me is how I've always done it. Are you also a
I'm
gave to me?
Yeah, I'm a gaver as well.
So it's my understanding that gave to me, my true love gave to me is an American, particularly American affectation. So our listeners in other parts of the world may be used to hearing it as sent to me, but we're gonna say gave to me.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah.
Any other 12 Days of Christmas preamble we need to get out of the way before we start to really break down what each of these days represents?
I don't think so. I think we can probably just get into it.
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be hitting each day, and then we're going to sing the verse or that we have just written with the new Nintendo specific, and we will be accompanied today, of course, by the Labo piano. So that's what you have to look forward to. Okay?
Played live.
Yes.
I am realizing now that it probably would have been a good use of our time to practice like singing together.
Nah.
At least once or twice before we tried to do it on mic.
Here's the thing: is that like I said, this is a like drinking song.
Yeah.
And memory game. So like when it sounds the way it does, that's fine.
Yeah, it's not trying to be a test of your patience.
Right. Or it is, because that is what the song is. I think part of the experience of hearing the 12 Days of Christmas is hating it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like breaking it up over 2 weeks is just,
right.
gives people something to look forward to.
Also, the individual singing, because we're going to do one verse and then we're going to talk about the next prize. And then, so the individual bursts of song are going to be like 15 seconds each, right? It's going to be real short.
Yeah.
But enough downplaying the part of this episode you're not going to want to listen to. Let's dig into the part of the episode that we do want to listen to and therefore do want to record. And just let's start with the first day of Christmas. Nintendo gives to me. So obviously in the song, it is a partridge in a pear tree.
And I feel like this is the centerpiece gift because it's returned to so often.
Every single time.
And
it's also big,
yeah.
right? It's a tree, right? And a bird inside it.
Yep.
Interesting thing to know about the partridge in a pear tree is that that's a change to a lyric that was a partridge in a June. It's like a June apple tree is something like that, which itself is a mishearing of juniper tree.
Oh, okay.
So again, this thing gets passed down sloppily, through bars and people singing along. But so yes, it's a partridge in a tree of some kind.
Okay, so I'm looking on Wikipedia. There's
Yes.
a version from 1877 that the verse is some part of a juniper tree.
There we go. Yes.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's not like what part, but like a juniper tree, is that like a little bit more in line with the holiday? Why a partridge? Why a pear tree?
Yeah. So many questions.
But the thing that we know for sure is that this is like a foundational piece of the like gift giving ritual here, and therefore it has to be a foundational part of like Nintendo,
Yeah.
right? Also, Mark, I don't know if you encountered this at all in any of your research about the 12 Days of Christmas, but there is a like popular chain email that goes around breaking down the gifts of the 12 Days of Christmas as though they're all like references to things in Catholicism.
Oh,
And that a mother partridge, like feigns injury to be to draw like predators away from her nest, and that makes the partridge Christ. But all of this is nonsense. It is not. It's not actually what it is. If you get those chain emails, that's your crazy aunt trying to convince you. That
so we
the
don't
song is
have
a
to
religious
figure
song.
out what Nintendo thing is
We
the
do
Christ
not.
figure
We do
of
not.
the Nintendo universe. Okay.
But I thought I would bring it up because it's a common enough like reading of the 12 Days of Christmas that is like pure chain letter nonsense.
Okay, got it.
And musical scholars agree on this fact. So I'm putting that to bed right now. Mark, what's your Nintendo Jesus?
I just want to say, I just want to say that chain letter nonsense feels part and parcel for how like the existence of this song. This song feels like
true. Yes,
it could be 17th or 18th century chain letter equivalent.
Yeah, when you think about it, 12 Days of Christmas is like the original meme. Right?
All right. Okay. We're done.
With the episode or
no.
Okay.
Okay. So here's what I have. Here is the struggle.
Yes.
That I went through, and so I'll be interested to hear how you approached these, because sometimes I was trying to think like, there is a thing in a tree. And what is, like an equivalency here?
Right.
Other times, it's not going down that road, and it is just based on other things.
Right.
But here's what I have.
Yeah.
I feel like Nintendo has a few foundational franchises.
I agree.
And you have Mario, you have Zelda, you have like Donkey Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you count Metroid in there, but I feel like those are like foundation.
Sure.
And so for this one, I decided to go with Zelda.
Okay.
And I'm leaning into the tree part of it.
Okay, great.
So what I have is a Korok in the Deku tree.
Korok in the Deku tree. Okay, is basically what that would be.
Uh-huh.
So that's good. I like that. I like keeping the tree around. I like those annoying little Koroks. Especially as they appear in Breath of the Wild.
Not much of a Christ figure.
Not much of a Christ figure, and like there's some like Zelda. To me, almost feels it is like it's of the foundation, but it feels like the more prestige-y angle of the foundation, right? And when I think about Nintendo, I don't always think about like the prestige of Nintendo. I just think about how like we love it. So I have two options here.
Okay.
So one is a DK arcade machine, to fit the syllables more closely. We're not going to nail these syllables, by the way. It'll going to be too many almost always. But a DK arcade machine, or Tetris on the Game Boy, because Game Boy Tetris is, I think it's clear why a Donkey Kong arcade machine would be like a foundational bit of Nintendo.
Totally.
But Tetris on the Game Boy is also like the thing that opened up the handheld gaming market, which is then a space that Nintendo rules to this day. If like the NES, the NES is obviously this big successful thing, but then the console market is kind of like tumultuous until the Wii. Whereas the handheld is kind of just like a rocket to the stars. And that starts with putting a game like Tetris that like dads are going to play, moms are going to play, kids are going to play, everyone's going to play Tetris. and putting that on the Game Boy, packing it in with the Game Boy, feels like a foundational bit of Nintendo lore to me.
Yeah, I think both of those could totally work. I wonder if the way that we break the tie
Yeah,
is consider which would make the better gift,
sure.
right? Like, which
Right.
one are you more excited to receive?
And to receive one of 12 days in a row.
Right.
I mean, for that reason, I feel like it's the DK arcade
I
machine.
think it probably is as
Although
well.
you're going to run out of space, so maybe it should just be the Tetris on Game Boy. I don't know.
Well, I don't know that all of these are going to be. I mean, at least mine are not
All physical objects.
Are not
that-
physical
yeah.
objects. Yeah.
Yeah, no, mine aren't either. Sometimes they are. Anyway. Yeah, sometimes they're more conceptual, sometimes they're games, sometimes they're characters, whatever.
Yeah.
But so how would you like to go here?
I think we go with something about DK arcade machine feels
Okay.
right to me.
Okay. Are you ready to attempt this, Mark? Our first verse here.
Yes.
Okay.
On the first day of Christmas, Nintendo gave to me a DK arcade machine. Okay, we'll get there
yeah.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
there.
uh-huh.
A DK arcade machine. Great. Moving on to the second day of Christmas. True Love traditionally gives 2 turtle doves. Now, I don't know about you, Mark, but I always hear that line from Home Alone 2 when the old man in the toy store gives Kevin McAllister turtle dove Christmas ornaments. He says, "Turtle doves." Do you know what
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I haven't seen Home Alone 2 in maybe since 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a reveal. Anyway, turtle doves. If you are reading that religious chain letter, it's the Old and New Testament. Fine, it's not what it is. But so in my mind, the 2 turtle doves are 2 things that like come as a pair and meaningfully complement each other.
Mm-hmm. And the way I was thinking about them is like symbols of like love or peace. Yeah.
I have 2 options for this. I will lay out both mine, and then let's hear yours.
Sounds good.
So I don't know how to shorten this, but the Famicom Detective Club remakes. There are 2 of them. They complement each other, and it's they brought much joy and love to our hearts when they came out a couple years ago. And then my other option was sparkling Lumas to represent Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. So 2 sparkling Lumas is how that would go.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, like I said, I took a different approach, and I was thinking of it more as like like representations of love. And what it made me think about was Mario and Luigi and their like brothership.
Sure.
Their relationship. And I was thinking of in Super Mario World how you can send 1-ups, like you can give your lives.
Yeah, sure.
You can share your lives with like the other player, so that way they get more. And so my pitch is 2 1-ups.
That fits perfectly in the in the meter of the song. 2 1-ups. I like that a lot. I do just want to throw this out. You saying the like love thing. In 1969, Nintendo did make a love tester, like a machine where you held on to like little metal
like those
rods.
Like you would see them in like arcades or bars or something. Like in Moe's bar in The Simpsons.
That's right.
Yeah.
Except theirs was different. Theirs looks it's not like a big like freestanding machine. It looks almost like a I don't even know. It's like just a weird little thing, and you hold on to 2 balls on strings.
Huh. I usually think of it as something that you like grip. Usually,
right.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
That's normally what those things are. This again, 1969. Like this is an old novelty toy.
So is it? So are you? If I'm following you, are you pitching 2 love machines?
So it's love tester. So 2 love testers. Yeah, I guess that would be my pitch. But I like 1-ups. Like there's something very pleasing about the simplicity of that, and I like Mario and Luigi as sort of like a pair that is obviously not a romantic relationship, but they love each other. And they can share one-ups. I feel like that one works. I would just remiss not to mention the love tester.
Yeah, so
Invented by Gunpei Yokoi. Incredible stuff.
Wow.
It displays a love score on a scale of 1 to 100.
Do you think they have one of those at the Nintendo Museum?
They better. Yeah, I mean, I think they do. They've got all kinds of stuff there, and we've seen like Ultra Machine and Ultra Hand and all that kind of stuff. So I would hope that they had this.
Okay,
how do I get my hands on one of these? I did not make a pledge to buy everything Nintendo put out in 1969.
That's right. It would be interesting to see how it works now. And I like that it's like a score between 1 and 100 because, again, normally these machines have different just like kind of like monikers or names that they award to you depending on how, I'm assuming how strong your grip is. So just being
or how
like,
sweaty your palms are.
Right, yeah. But so just interesting to have it be on a scale of 1 to or 0 to 100.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, what do you do with that information?
I don't know. I think you
tell your doctor.
You could tell your doctor or consult your therapist, maybe, depending on what you were hoping for. Okay, Mark, are you ready to do the second verse here?
Yes. Are we doing the second verse and the first verse?
Yeah. So we'll go on. Well, no. So we'll start on the second day of Christmas, right? So we'll go on the second day of Christmas. Then we'll sing the second day, the first day, and that's it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll do like how the song works.
Okay.
Okay. So on the second day of Christmas, Nintendo gave to me 2 1-ups and a DK arcade machine. Great. Okay. So the third day of Christmas, I had a hard time with this one because the original lyric is 3 French hens.
Yeah, okay, again.
Yeah.
So many birds up top. So we're bird heavy.
Yes, we're very bird heavy.
And I could not find really information about what French hens were supposed to represent.
And to me, nothing. Like, what makes the hen French? It's just from France?
Yeah, I guess so.
We will. I think here's my pitch for how we should be treating it. It's just anything that meaningfully comes in threes.
Oh yes, yeah, I think that's great.
Because the turtle doves meaningfully in 2s, this meaningfully in 3s. This all makes sense. A lot of things come in 3s.
Yeah.
Right. As we get higher up in the numbers, that's going to become harder to do. But here, and because it's really the only thing we have to go on, that's what I based mine on. So again, I have 2 options. But only one that I like. And may I pitch it first?
Please.
So, types of Pikmin. In the original
that's
Pikmin,
good.
in Pikmin 1, there are just 3 Pikmin, red, yellow, and blue. And they've added a bunch to them in subsequent releases, and it's always fun to get new Pikmin. But there's something so like intoxicatingly simple about the triad of Pikmin that like are your only tools for getting through this world. Is like the red ones can deal with fire and they're a little bit stronger. The yellow ones can actually in the first game they can't deal with electricity. That's not a thing, but they can be thrown a little bit further. And the blue ones can live, going through water. And other than that, they're all the same.
So what's the phrasing?
So it would just be types of Pikmin.
Oh yeah,
3 types of Pikmin.
Yeah, I think that's really good.
Thank you.
But do you want to give your second?
Oh, my second pitch was just Triforce pieces.
Okay, that's my pitch as well. It's Triforce shards. Yeah.
Right, which like there are 3 pieces of the Triforce. This is why I didn't like it, right? That like when you are collecting Triforce shards, like in the original Legend of Zelda, there's 8 of them, right? And in how many are there in Wind Waker when you're like sailing around the ocean? I can't
remember.
Yeah,
but I also agree that they're not particularly meaningful on their own.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so I also like getting Pikmin in there because I will admit a lot of my entries lean in like the Mario Zelda area.
Sure.
And so I think getting representation from another franchise is good.
Yeah, I will agree. For whatever reason, I can't copy and paste types of Pikmin. This is maybe not my only Pikmin.
No, I think that's fine.
Pitch,
I think that's fine.
pitch for this exercise. All right, Mark, are you ready to sing the third verse of the 12 Days of Christmas, Nintendo style?
Yep.
Okay.
On the third day of Christmas, Nintendo gave to me 3 types of Pikmin, 2 1-ups, and a DK arcade machine.
Great. Moving on to the fourth day. Mark, let's talk about this, because the lyric that I had always heard was calling birds, 4 calling birds.
Right.
There's no such thing as a calling bird. That's not a designation of bird. The lyric was at some point collie birds, which is like an old English sort of bastardization of coal-colored birds. So like 3 black birds is basically what this thing is originally pitching. But so now we have all of this information that we have to contend with. Is it a calling bird, something that makes a lot of noise, or is it a coal bird and therefore like a black bird? How did you approach this one?
Yeah, I approached it from the perspective of like calling, like making a lot of noise.
Great. Yes, and that's mostly what I led with as well.
Yeah, and so that's why my pitch for the fourth day of Christmas is 4 links grunting.
That's pretty good.
Like 4 Swords Adventure, there are 4 links.
There are 4 links.
And, you know, he's
there
always...
are also 3 links in Triforce Heroes. Maybe we should go back.
He's always making noise. That link, yeah, exactly. It's like, yes. So that's my pitch, is 4 links grunting.
That's good. 4 calling birds, by the way, do not represent the Gospels. I again have 2 pitches.
Okay.
So instead of calling birds, Game & Watches.
Uh-huh.
Because they do have an alarm on them and they make a little noise.
Yeah, beep and boop.
Also, Mr. Game & Watch, like a black LCD, just like image of a dude, right? And then also sound clock alarmos, because they make a lot of noise. It's basically all they do. Right? And in some ways, they're the black sheep of the Nintendo hardware family.
Okay, I feel like hands down, it's got to be sound clock alarmos. If for no other reason,
yes,
that it scans really well.
Yes. So, but is it? Do we not do the 4? We have to do 4 sound clock alarmos, right?
Oh yeah. So I guess it will be compressed.
Yes, but and we're not saying Nintendo sound clock alarmo. We're just saying sound clock alarmo.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then types of Pikmin, and then 1-ups, and then DK arcade machine.
Yep.
I do really like your links a grunting, even if that's more of a like later in the song construction.
Well, it's not links a grunting; it's just links grunting.
Gotcha.
But it could be. We could save it in our back pocket for.
Let's remember
links a grunting. Yeah,
because that's good, and I like it. Okay, Mark, are you ready to do our 4th day of Christmas?
Yes.
On the 4th day of Christmas, Nintendo gave to me 4 sound clock alarmos, 3 types of Pikmin, 2 1-ups, and a DK arcade machine. Each one of these is better than the last. All right, moving on to 5 gold rings.
Yes.
Thing I want to point out here, it is speculated that gold ring referred to the marking on the neck of a pheasant, so that this one is also a bird.
No! I thought that we were away from birds.
We're not away from birds, not even momentarily.
Just, like, pulling us back.
Well,
I did not go into bird direction.
I also do not go into bird direction here. If you let any of the birds sway you in a bird direction, the whole thing would be birds.
The whole thing would be birds.
How do you what's your read on the 5 gold rings?
I mean, I don't have anything fancy other than just like, yeah, that sounds nice, getting 5 gold rings.
Yeah.
I don't know if it represents anything. It just seems like a nice gift.
Sure. Can I tell you what it represents, like, to me?
Sure.
It's a break from the birds.
Oh,
It's where for the first time in the song we're like, you know, I'm just going to give you something valuable.
Well, especially
something gaudy.
Especially imagine you are the person receiving this. And the first 4 days, you've received birds of some kind.
Right.
So you're like, today's going to be a bird day.
And a
it's
handful
just
of
gotta
trees.
be. Yeah. It's just like, today is just, it's going to be another
It's going to
bird.
be more birds, right.
But then it's not. Blessedly, it is not.
It is merely 5 gold rings. But it's
Uh-huh.
also like an exalt, because this is the first time where the song like changes a little bit, and you have this.
Oh, you're so excited for these 5 rings.
You're so excited for these 5 gold rings. The Eddie Izzard bit about people coming in from out of the room to go, 5 gold rings is awesome, and he's right.
Do you say gold rings or golden rings?
So I have gold rings written in my notes here, but I think I probably mostly say golden rings.
Yeah, I feel like growing up we
5
said golden.
rings, 5 gold. I mean, it's yeah,
I'm guessing it's one of those. Both variations exist.
right, like a June apple tree. Okay. So for something nakedly valuable, a departure from traditional birds and into straight up luxury, Mark, what do you have for 5 gold rings?
Okay, I have 5 golden coins plus 1.
Plus what?
Because we have
right.
to have 6 golden
gold
coins, like Super
Right,
Mario Land
right.
2, 6 golden coins. So so in my pitch, it would go like this. It'd be 5 golden rings plus
Coins,
1.
coins,
Oh yeah, coins.
Plus 1.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Okay. Plus 1. Plus 1. I don't know. Uh-oh. That key got stuck a little bit. I shouldn't hit the C, I guess.
I mean, it is cardboard that we put together 5 years ago. So the fact
it's
that it's plain at
amazing.
all is a
Right.
miracle. Yeah.
Yes. It is astounding. So I really like 5 gold coins plus 1. I think that's very good and fun and funny. This is obviously a reference to Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. Which is that golden? That's
It is golden.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So my 2 pitches, and I don't really know how to make either of them fit into the meter, so I think we should go with yours. But my 2 pitches were New Super Mario Brothers 2, because that's the one that's all about like collecting coins.
5 new Super Mario Brothers 2.
I think
that's
you would just,
funny. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because
Are you saying you would just drop 5 and it would just be?
I
new
was
Super
thinking
Mario
you would
Brothers
drop
2?
but I think we have to keep the numbers.
I think
right?
we have to keep the numbers.
But that whole game is about collecting as many coins as you can. It has a running coin like thing where you can never like it never stops you from like getting more coins, and there's really no like major reward for having a ton of them.
No, I don't remember any payoff, but it was addicting when we played it.
Yes, it was.
I did want to get as many as I could.
wanted all the coins I could get. And then speaking of someone who probably wanted to get all the coins she could get, Mark, do you remember this story from a couple years ago about the Queen's Golden Wii?
Yes, I do.
That's it. 5, the Queen's Golden Wii.
Yeah, I can't. It was for some like third-party game. They
Yes, it was like a Carnival Games or
yeah,
something.
yeah. They like gold-plated it and sent
Yeah.
it to her, and she like never could officially acknowledge that she received
Right,
it, but
right.
apparently the palace had actually received it.
What do you think happened to that thing after she died?
Oh, I remember when this came up in a news story at some point, and I think a collector has it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like in the Tower of London.
I don't think so. Like you see the crown jewels,
Right.
and then you can go to the next room.
There's like a
to see
scepter
the-
and then a golden
Yeah.
Wii. Yeah, that's good. I think it's got to be the 5 golden coins
plus 1. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Okay. All right. Mark, here we go.
Okay.
On the 5th day of Christmas, Nintendo gave to me 5 golden coins plus 1.
4 sound clock alarmos, 3 types of Pikmin, 2 1-ups,
and a DK arcade machine. Perfect.
Beautiful.
All right.
It's like the angels are singing.
It's like, yes, it is. From on high, heralding the birth of, well, we're not going to get into that because we are not following the chain mail, chain email. Okay, next up, 6th day of Christmas. We got geese a-laying.
Yeah.
Normally. You know, even in like the version where you know, or where you accept that the rings are rings and not rings on the neck of a pheasant, it's a little bit of a bummer to be like, oh, back to birds.
Back to birds. I mean, look, I get it. It's the 18th century, and you're like, oh, these geese can give me goose eggs.
Yeah, I mean that is presumably what they are laying. Were people eating more goose eggs at that time in the 1780s?
Yeah, I
There's no way
wonder
to know.
because now you think of like, oh, goose egg means like zero, like it's like bad.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
But I guess any food was good food in the 18th century.
Or all food was bad food. And so anything you had to eat and was protein rich. That's actually, are all these birds, I hate to say it,
Food.
alive? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do think they're. Do you think it's better if they're alive or better if they're dead?
I think the French hens could be dead. They could just
free
like
French
show
hens.
up with like
Yeah,
yeah, but the rest of them, I guess you don't want to eat turtle doves.
Right.
But
and a partridge in a pear tree. I really don't know what you do with that one.
I mean, you eat the pears, right?
Yeah, you eat the pears.
Probably you make like some kind of tart.
Yeah, presumably. A goose egg and pear tart,
Sure.
I guess. Well, you know, when you get to the 6th day.
Right. Okay, so geese a laying. Back to these dang birds, and they're laying eggs, which means possibly they're reproducing.
Yeah,
We don't know if they're fertilized geese eggs or not.
Yeah, we don't know for
goose
sure.
eggs. So I approached it from the perspective of it is a reproducing thing. It's a goose. It's laying eggs. That you could therefore maybe have an unlimited supply of geese. So I'm saying 6 Super Mario Makers.
Okay, that's good.
Because you have an unlimited supply of user-generated levels. This was, I think, the only day that I had but one suggestion.
Okay. Well, I have 2.
Okay, great.
So, you know, just on face value, you got geese laying. Who's constantly producing eggs? It's Birdo.
Birdo.
So you got
yes.
6 Birdos laying. Or
spitting.
That's good. Birdo spitting.
Because Birdo spits eggs. So
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever seen Birdo lay an egg.
We haven't.
Right.
But spit for sure.
Yeah.
Birdo spitting. Or, and here's one not bird related.
Great.
I just, it's kind of like Lynx grunting. It's Navi's haying.
Oh, like
hey! Exactly.
What about Navi's listening?
Because Navi's listening.
Because Navi will also go, listen.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like the idea of, I like the idea of having either Navi or Birdo included here. Birdo seems like an obvious pull, like we have to have her somewhere.
Right.
Because there are so many birds here.
So many birds.
So many birds.
And eggs. And that's like Birdo's whole deal.
Yes. And there's like a fun parallel with like a spitting, Birdo's a spitting. So maybe that one has to win. But the Navi's listening is also funny. Was she? So those are like voice clips in those games, right? Like we can hear her saying, "Hey" and "listen."
Well,
those are the only 2 things that
I think that's right.
Says? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. How would you like to go here, Mark?
I think it's Birdo spitting.
I
just would hate to risk not getting Birdo in here somewhere with all this other bird stuff going on. Even though Birdo, not a bird.
That's true. Birdo, a dinosaur of some kind. Right?
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess. Actually, yeah, maybe Birdo is just a Birdo.
Birdo is just a Birdo, and that's fine, and we accept Birdo for that. Okay. Mark, are you ready to embark on...
Yes, because this is our last one for part 1.
Oh my gosh, this is our final verse for part 1. Mark, let's hit it. On the 6th day of Christmas, Nintendo gave to me 6 Birdo spitting, 5 golden coins plus 1. 4 sound clock alarmos, 3 types of Pikmin, 2 1-ups, and a DK arcade machine. Wow, Mark, we made it through the first 6 days of Christmas, which by my count puts us at the 30th? No, the 31st? We're to the end of December.
Oh, hey, we did it!
Mark, as we before we exit this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, do you feel as though you have any new insight into the either gift giver of the 12 Days of Christmas, or the song itself, or the drunks gathered around a piano in 18th century France?
No, I'm more confused than ever.
Me too. All right, Mark, let's close this out. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society.
Maybe we'll figure it all out next week in the grand conclusion.
Maybe we will.
When we put it all together.
Yes,
I'm sure something will illuminate itself.
Yes, and we will. And again, this is not the Catholic reading of the 12 Days of Christmas, but we will uncover some universal truth about.
We must surely.
Existence,
That's the point of this exercise, right?
Thank you so much to our 60-minute patrons: Connor McKay, Patrice Millette, Kyle Seaborn. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who's hanging out, listening to us sing and make up a Christmas song on the fly. Thank you so much for listening. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.